Hello everyone, you all are welcome. You know what? Our earth consists many of the things, right? And these things are known as natural resources. These natural resources further divided into the two next categories, right? These are known as living resources and the non-living resources, and even we call them biotic components and abiotic components of the earth. So what does it mean? So living things, that means here we include animals, plants, we people, so we all are natural living things or living resources, right? And if we talk about the next one, that is non-living natural resources, so these are the natural resources which are essential for us to survive on the earth, right? And these natural resources fulfill our needs. For example, water, air, minerals. So these all the things are natural non-living resources. So natural resources, clear? So these are the materials that exist in life, okay, and fulfill the needs of living organisms. And two type of natural resources we have: living and non-living, right? So what can be the examples of living? Like animals, humans, plants. Clear? So these are the things that we include in the living resources. And if we talk about the non-living, what can be? Water, soil, minerals, even air. Clear? So these are the non-living resources, but all these are essential to us for surviving on the earth. For example, water, we cannot live without water, right? Soil, if soil would be there, then the amount of plants also will be there, right? And minerals, if minerals would not be there, we have less quantity of the minerals and ores, right? And if air would not be there, we people would not be able to breathe. So these are the things that we include in non-living things, and we cannot survive without these. Clear? Next we have from where we get these natural resources on the earth. Okay, so like we know very well that earth is divided into sub parts of it. So let's see what natural resources can be found in the what area of the earth. Okay, so first of all, solids like minerals, from where we can get this lithosphere of the earth. And if we talk about all the water bodies, for example rivers, seas, oceans, so we get these from water bodies from where? Hydrosphere. Clear? And the last one, gases, from where we get this? Atmosphere. Okay, clear? So solid materials we get from lithosphere, and water bodies from hydrosphere, and gases from atmosphere. Clear? So next we have shortage of water. Do you know that Earth's 71% is covered with water? Do you really believe that all this 70% is suitable for drinking and the other purposes of our needs? No. So 70% of Earth is covered with water. But if we talk about the 100% of this 71%, then how much drinking water we have available? So approximately 97.4% is in oceans and seas. And this water is not suitable for the drinking, so it's not potable in nature, right? So out of 100%, the 2% further is present on the glaciers, okay, which is in frozen form. So this is frozen water. And this frozen water is fresh in nature, but still it is not available to all. Okay, for example, the people who are not near the glaciers, then how will they get water? Clear? And out of this, 0.59% is groundwater. Clear? So this water is also not available directly to us, right? And among all these, we have only 0.01% potable water. Clear? So this water is fresh that we have for drinking purpose. Clear? So you can easily see how shortage we have. So approximately 71% of earth is covered with water, but the 100% of this 71% only we have for 0.01% for the drinking. Clear? So 97% water is in oceans and seas, and next 2% water is frozen in nature, and then 0.59% is groundwater, and only 0.01% we have for drinking. Clear? So next we have states of water. So what are the forms of water on the earth? Okay, so three forms we have: ice, water, that means liquid, and next we have steam. Clear? So ice, water and steam. Ice is in solid form, water is in liquid, and steam is in gaseous state. So these are the three states of water. So first of all, we will talk about the ice. So how water changes into ice and what temperature does it require to form ice? So that is, its melting and freezing point are same. Melting and freezing point. So what does it mean? Melting and freezing point. What are the two things we have written? So melting and freezing point. Melting, that means when a liquid starts melting. Okay, this is known as melting point of the particular substance, and the freezing also same. When the substance starts freezing, that is known as the freezing point of the particular substance. And here we are talking about the water, right? And the melting and freezing point of water is quite similar, that is 0°C. So ice starts melting on the temperature of 0°C and even starts freezing on the temperature 0°C. Clear? And the next one we have water. That means here water is in liquid form. So here water changes to water vapors at all temperatures, and this process is known as evaporation. So it changes into vapors, and this is the reason our clothes dry up very quickly. Next we have steam. So how water changes into steam? First of all, it needs 100 degrees Celsius of temperature to change water into steam. So what temperature does it require? Yes, 100 degree Celsius. Clear? And through the condensation process, steam form can change into water. Clear? So these were the three states of water. First one, ice, from where we can get ice like in the areas of hills and mountains. Clear? And water in rivers, oceans, seas, and steam is in its a gaseous state. So where we can have this, yes, water droplets that are known as vapors, and these vapors are present in the air. So from there we can have water vapors. So students, this was for today. In the next video we will continue this chapter. Until that, you need to learn all these things.